Welcome to the deep dive. So, you're interested in the editorial world, maybe specifically what an assistant editor does day to day, and you want to get up to speed quickly.
Yeah, you're in the right place. And we've got a really interesting way to look at it today.
We do. We're using an interview question guide for hiring assistant editors.
Exactly. It's like a backdoor insight into what companies really value, what skills are make or break for the role.
It's a great shortcut, honestly. Forget job hunting for a second. This tells you about the core job. We're looking at situational questions, soft skills, role-specific stuff.
And that STAR method thing, too. Situation, task, action, result. Gives real examples.
Right. So exploring these questions should really, paint a picture of the daily grind, the challenges, the skills we did.
So our mission today, our deep dive, is basically to pull out those key insights for you. What does it take? What are the hurdles in making sure content's good and on time?
It's relevant if you're interested in editorial work, obviously, but also just, how teams work well together.
Definitely. There's a lot here.
Okay, let's get into it. First up, situational questions. This one puts you right in the hot seat. If a senior editor assigns you an article that you're having trouble finding sources for, what steps would you take to overcome this challenge?
Resourcefulness, obviously.
Yeah, that jumps out. But what's underneath that? What are they really trying to find out?
Well, I think it's more than just knowing Google, right? It's about initiative. In editorial, things move fast. Waiting around stalls everything.
Okay.
So they want to see if you're proactive. Can you think laterally? Can you keep the process moving? Even when you hit a snag,
Yeah.
It's about that problem-solving drive.
That makes sense. So not just I looked and couldn't find it, but
Right. More like, okay, plan A didn't work. I tried these databases. I thought about reaching out to this expert. Maybe I need to rethink the keywords, that sort of thing.
got it. Okay, next one. This feels critical. You notice a factual error in an article that is about to go to print. How would you handle this situation to ensure accuracy?
Whoa. Yeah, that's a big one. This hits the absolute core of editing, doesn't it? Being that final check, the guardian of accuracy.
Guardian, yeah, like a gatekeeper for facts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because once it's out there, especially in print, well, credibility's on the line.
So what's the ideal reaction then? Panic.
Hopefully not just panic. The key is immediate decisive action. You flag it. Instantly.
Okay.
Clearly, calmly communicated up the chain to the senior editor, whoever, and crucially provide the correction or the source to back it up.
Right. No room for ambiguity or delay.
None. Accuracy is everything.
Okay, shifting gears slightly. This feels familiar for almost any job. Your team is behind on deadline due to unforeseen circumstances. What steps would you take to get back on track and ensure the project is delivered on time?
The dreaded unforeseen circumstances. This is all about adaptability, isn't it? And thinking strategically when things go sideways.
Yeah, because stuff always happens. It tests how you react, how you problem solve.
And how you work as a team under pressure. It's not just about your work, but how you help the whole effort recover.
So you'd be looking for answers about what? Communication. Reprioritize.
Exactly. Clear communication about the delay, first off. Then, okay, how do we reassess? Can we shuffle tasks? What's the new critical path? Maybe some overtime, but hopefully smarter work distribution first. Keeping calm is key too.
Right, don't add to the chaos. Okay, next one gets into relationships. A writer you are working with is resistant to taking edits or feedback. How would you handle this situation? Sorry, keep going. To ensure the article meets company standards while still respecting the writer's voice.
Yeah, this is delicate. It's a classic editorial challenge.
Totally. You need the piece to be right, meet the standards, but you don't want to alienate the writer or just, stomp all over their work.
It's all about the how. How do you deliver that feedback?
Diplomacy.
Big time. Diplomacy, clear rationale. Explaining why the edits are needed, maybe for clarity for the audience, for style guide consistency, not just this is wrong.
Framing it constructively.
Yes. As a collaboration, how can we make this stronger rather than you need to fix this?
Got it. Last situational one. One of your team members is consistently failing to meet expectations on a project. How would you approach this situation?
To address the issue and help the team member improve.
Yeah, this touches on the supportive side of the role.
Right. It's not just about your own tasks. It's about the team's health. How do you handle underperformance without being, well, a jerk? It requires tact, definitely, and a focus on being constructive.
So probably starting with a private conversation, trying to
Yeah.
understand what's going on.
Ideally, yes. Understand the why behind it. Then offer specific, actionable feedback. Not just do better, but here's where the issue is, and here's maybe a resource or a way I can help.
Setting clear expectations moving forward, too, I imagine.
Absolutely. Support, clarity, but also accountability. It's a mix.
Okay, that covers the situational stuff. Now, let's look at soft skills questions. These seem to underpin how someone handles those situations we just talked about. First one, how do you manage your time effectively to ensure project deadlines are met?
Fundamental, right?
Mm.
Especially in editorial. Deadlines are everything.
Absolutely. This isn't just about being punctual. It's about genuine organization, prioritization.
Especially when you're juggling like 5 different things at once.
Because they're looking for concrete strategies here, not just I'm good at time management.
Definitely. They want the specifics. Do you use to-do lists, project management software, time blocking? Do you know when to ask for help or maybe delegate something small? Show us the system.
Show, don't just tell. Okay. Next, can you provide an example of a time when you had to adapt to an unexpected change in a project, and what steps did you take?
The curveball question. Adaptability again.
Yeah, how do you handle it when the plan just goes out the window?
It shows resilience, doesn't it? And your real-time problem-solving chops. Can you stay productive when things get chaotic?
And again, it's the how. What makes a good answer here?
I think clear communication is key again. Acknowledge the change, figure out the impact quickly, reassess priorities, maybe brainstorm solutions with the team.
Proactive, not just reactive.
Exactly. Showing you can roll with the punches and adjust course without losing your head. Flexibility is huge.
Makes sense. Next one focuses on interaction. What type of communication skills do you feel are most important in your role as an assistant editor?
Ooh, good one. Because it's constant, right? Talking to writers, senior editors, maybe designers.
Yeah, it's not just about being a good writer yourself.
Not at all. Clarity, yes.
Yeah.
Conciseness, definitely. But also active listening, really hearing what people are saying. And tailoring your communication, you talk differently to a nervous writer than to your boss, right?
Uh-huh. Minimizing misunderstandings. It's about receiving info effectively, too.
Precisely. Okay, here's another interpersonal one. How do you handle conflicts or personality clashes with coworkers or clients?
Testing the emotional intelligence, maybe? Professionalism under fire?
Yeah, can you stay cool? Can you find common ground? You want someone who sees conflict not as a fight, but as a problem to be solved.
Right. Someone who listens, tries to see the other side.
Empathy comes in here too. Focusing on the project's goals, finding a resolution that works, even if you don't suddenly become best friends. Diplomacy again.
Okay, and the last soft skill actually calls that out. Can you speak to a moment when you had to empathize with a colleague or client to successfully complete a project?
Yeah, this underlines that it's a people job, fundamentally, even with all the technical details.
Understanding someone's perspective, like why a writer is attached to a certain phrase or why a client has a specific concern.
Exactly. If you can understand why someone feels a certain way, you can often find a better way to work with them, address their concerns, and still get the job done well. It builds rapport.
Smoother workflow, better relationships, got it.
Okay, now for the role-specific questions. These get more into the nitty-gritty, the technical side. And the first one is interesting. What are your preferred video editing software? Can you share your experience of using them?
Right off the bat, that tells us something important. Assistant editor doesn't always just mean text.
Absolutely. For anyone listening who's thinking about skills, this is key. Multimedia is often part of the package now. Video editing is a big one in some places.
So this question is checking technical familiarity.
Yes. And the follow-up. Explain your process of selecting footage. How would you judge the quality? That goes deeper.
Into the artistic side, the judgment calls.
Exactly. It's not just can you use the software, but do you have an eye? Can you tell a good shot? Does it serve the story? Can you spot technical flaws?
It's evaluative. Okay, then it gets even more technical. Can you demonstrate how to use a color grading tool? How do you ensure continuity?
Whoa. Yeah, see? Some roles expect serious technical skill. Color grading, ensuring visual consistency. That's pretty specialized.
It really highlights the potential technical depth, ensuring that consistent look and feel throughout a piece.
Then it pivots slightly. In your opinion, what are the necessary elements of a successful trailer? How would you ensure that the trailer meets industry standards?
Okay, so now thinking about the audience, about promotion.
Right. Do you understand what makes people click, what builds hype? Can you condense the essence of a project into something short and compelling?
Like a mini marketing strategy within the edit. Understanding industry norms, too.
Yeah, awareness of best practices, what works, what doesn't. And finally, Looping back to people skills, but in a technical context. How would you handle a client who is unsatisfied with the final product? Can you provide an example?
Oof. Handling negative feedback on your work.
Yeah, combines technical understanding with client management, problem solving, staying professional when someone's unhappy. Can you listen to their concerns, explain your choices, find solutions, maybe navigate creative differences?
That requires a really strong blend of skills: technical, communication, diplomacy.
Definitely. Okay, last section. The STAR interview questions. Just a quick reminder. STAR is situation, task, action, result. It's a way to structure answers about past experiences.
Right, makes the examples clear and concise. So the first one mentioned is managing multiple projects simultaneously.
So the situation is juggling several projects. The task is keeping them all organized and on deadline. The action might be, say, creating a detailed spreadsheet, maybe delegating some smaller tasks, and the result. Everything got done on time, client's happy.
See, neat package. Shows project management in action.
Exactly. Second STAR example. Troubleshooting a technical problem during post-production.
Situation. Technical glitch during editing. Task. Figure it out. Fix it.
Action. Maybe they researched online, asked a colleague, tried a few different fixes. Result. Problem solved, high-quality video delivered. Shows technical skill, but also resourcefulness, persistence.
Right, not giving up easily. Third one, collaborating remotely. Very relevant now.
Totally. Situation. Team members are geographically dispersed. Task. Effective teamwork despite the distance.
Action. Could be setting up regular video calls, using specific collaboration tools, clear documentation.
And result, project finished successfully, on schedule, demonstrates communication skills and tech savviness for remote work.
Fourth STAR example, learning new software or technology.
Situation. Needed to get up to speed on a new tool. Task. Learn it quickly and effectively.
Action. Maybe they watched tutorials, practiced, asked questions, experimented.
Right. Result. They mapped to the tool, it improved their workflow, made them more efficient, shows adaptability initiative, that growth mindset.
Okay, and the last STAR example, making a critical editorial decision.
Situation. Faced with a key decision impacting the project. Task. Analyze the options, choose the best path.
Action. Maybe they reviewed footage carefully, consulted with the senior editor, weighed the pros and cons.
And the result. The decision led to a better final product, achieved the creative goals, highlights critical thinking, judgment, taking ownership.
So, wrapping up this whole deep dive, looking through the lens of all these questions, what are the big takeaways about being an assistant editor?
Well, it's clearly a mix, isn't it? You need the core editing skills, that meticulous attention to detail, definitely. But just as important are the communication and people skills, working with writers, editors, maybe clients. Time management is huge. Organization.
Problem solving comes up again and again.
Constantly.
Yeah.
And adaptability to changes, to new tech, like the video editing stuff we saw. It's quite a broad skill set.
It really is. And it strikes me that even though these questions are for this specific role, the underlying skills, they're valuable almost anywhere, right? Especially in collaborative, detail-focused work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which leads to maybe a final thought for our listeners to chew on.
Okay.
We've peeked behind the curtain at editing. Thinking about this complexity, this blend of skills.
Yeah.
What other roles, maybe in totally different fields, have this kind of hidden depth? Roles where a surprising mix of technical, creative, and interpersonal skills are needed, but maybe aren't obvious from the outside.
Makes you think about all the unseen effort that goes into things we consume every day. A lot more complex than they might appear on the surface.
Exactly. Something to ponder.